Pop up the UAT Chrome.
Starting.
Here's the one that should say have the UAT logo. Yeah, pop that one up because I need to see that.
You need to see the itinerary.
Are we starting? Is it recording?
We are. We're recording.
Okay, just as an FYI, we are streaming and recording, so make sure that you are aware of that. Welcome, masses of people. So this is Production Studio. What we're going to do is we're going to kind of explain what's going on. It is slightly different for many people, the game students included. You see more instructors in a group than you probably normally see in the building. There's one over there. Where else are they hiding? One hiding up there, I think. So welcome. We are doing a bit of an experiment this time in that all the production studios are briefly going to meet together, and then we're going to do some breakouts. Lynn's trying to track me with the camera. Do some breakouts and work on different projects and different things like that. So many of you, or some of you might not know who I am. My name is Derek Clark. I am the program champion of game studies. So I run the game production studio along with Lynn, and been here forever. One of the things that we've been doing, we've been running game production studio officially since, what, about 2010?
8 years.
Unofficially before that through SPTs and different things. And what we want to do is we want to do a couple of things. One, pass on what we have learned to the other production studios. Last year we decided to make every degree have a production studio. So we're trying to help facilitate that, but also start to get some of the support and cross-discipline stuff working. So that's where we're going to start. We're going to do some introductions, kind of get everybody's faces and names together so that as the studio starts to run, you'll have more resources. Even my game students will have more resources. So my name is Derek. I tend to lean towards design on the system side. So if you're looking for that kind of stuff, I've done programming in the past, but that's what I do. My counterpart, Lynn, you want to say what your expertise are?
Game art and animation and game production and management.
Can you unfreeze that?
Yeah.
Hugh.
Game programming.
Yeah.
There we go. I do design as well.
So the reason we're actually bringing this up is, let's say you're an ACS student and you're working in Unity, right? Tony's not the strongest in Unity, but Hugh is, right? And so you now have a resource to go and talk to somebody who knows Unity. Tony, you're next.
Computer science and artificial intelligence.
So same thing, right? Like now if you're a game student and you're struggling with some AI stuff and we can't get it, Tony loves AI stuff. So a new face to many of you, Deb Zuri.
Hello, I'm teaching in design, marketing, and business.
Cool. I'm very, very big on personal branding. Trust me, you're going to hear from her this term, so I'm going to slaughter in for some presentations.
I'm awake.
It's impressive.
I was actually here before you. Very impressive.
I know you were here before me. I was here at 9:30.
Is it the jet lag that makes you think?
That's what it is. It's on Asian time.
A wild George appeared. For those of you that don't know George, he usually goes to bed about this time. So, what's your specialty, George?
Game art animation, 3D environment, and hard surface.
Cool. Adam.
So my specialty is game production and management, system design, and game programming.
Cool. Mark.
Mark Feldman, game programming, performance and optimization. If your game's running slow, you can look at it.
Awesome. Steven.
Oh, okay, yeah. Software, networking, databases.
Databases, some of my favorites. I think I saw Mason. Mason.
Network engineering and network security.
So for my game students, if you're looking for multiplayer and network code and stuff like that, and you have questions, that's a good resource. Joseph, hiding over here by himself.
Hi, I'm here for robotics and basically 3D printing.
Oh, awesome. Okay, so obviously, if you're for my game studios, a much larger collection of people. So right now, this is kind of an overview of what's running. So just to kind of, so we can put some more faces to names. If you are in the CSE 333 production studio with Tony, please stand up. I want to see who you are. Oh, there's another one. Thank God. Awesome. Programmers, good to have you aboard. You have 2 digital makers? We have
That's
2.
half our department.
So DBM 330. We got 1. I think there's only 2 total, so that's a 50% show rate. That's gonna be good. Digital media production with that 3.
That's cool.
1, 2, 3, 4.
No trouble.
What studio are you in?
What studio?
Yeah. Are you in Game 125?
Oh, I thought this was the game job fair related.
It is. It is. Yes.
Oh, it is.
But-
I'm a newbie. So
Okay.
no.
Join us. Come on in.
Okay, thanks.
Okay, so welcome to our digital media production. DVA is not in here. NGS 333, our net security students, where are they at? Woohoo! 2,
Nice.
3, 4. There were more in that room.
Yeah, 2 of them were in this class.
Oh, okay. That's cool. I thought I was losing my mind. 0 RBT, right? RBT didn't end up with any. Okay, so that's pretty good. So welcome everybody. This is going to sound a little.
For everyone else, should be.
Yeah, this is going to be like mean. If you're in the game production studio.
No. You won't stand up.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, that doesn't. That felt very self-serving. Okay, you go ahead and sit down and shut up. So obviously we are bigger. We're bigger for a couple of reasons. We do have a lot of students. We have 3 degrees, so there's 3 degrees as opposed to a single degree. And it's been a requirement for game students for a very long time. One of the things that you run into in game production studio is there's a critical mass, right? Like if you're not in the catalog where it's required, a few people will join, and then this bubble will finally hit and the numbers will come up. But that's also part of the reason we wanted to combine them and help each other out is as you're smaller, it's nice to have people to bang ideas off of. Something else that we do is we'll often get together subgroups of people. We have discipline-based meetings where programmers will get together to answer questions, designers will get together to answer questions, artists will get together to answer questions. Something I think is going to be very powerful with our different groups is leads get together and ask questions and answer questions for each other. The other groups probably don't have their leads picked yet, but the game group does. So if you're a lead in a game project, please stand up.
Good.
All right, so stay standing. So these are our leads. If you have questions about how it runs from a student perspective, and you're in one of the other groups, these are good people to ask. If you have led a project before, please stay standing. If you're a new lead, please sit down. So these people have done it at least 1 term, if not more. They also are a really, really good resource. So that I think covers most of the introduction stuff. Again, things that we believe in studio as a whole. Thing number 1, it is about being productive and getting work done. It is not about being embarrassed. It's not about struggling. It's not about sitting in a room by yourself for 6 hours because you can't figure something out. Ask. We are here to help each other. Mentorship is a huge part of getting stuff done. And if I can answer your question in 5 minutes and save you an hour, we've gained an hour of productivity. And so that's a huge thing. And so while it might seem like, why are you taking time to introduce all these people? That's why. Get to know these people, even if they're not in your discipline. We can help each other out. We can actually make your time more valuable. Okay, so let's talk about what Studio does. We've got transparency. The other thing is accountability and being here. One of the things that we believe in running a studio is the productivity of the team can outweigh the productivity of an individual. So, for instance, raise your hand if you would rather sit at home and get your work done by yourself. I'm raising my hand because I would rather sit at home and do my work by myself, right? There's very, very few people who's like, no, please put me in a noisy environment where I don't get as much work done. Right? That's not a normal reaction. If it is for you, that's fine. So we will acknowledge that that's probably true. Individually, we are probably more productive if we can isolate ourselves at home in a comfortable environment where I'm used to my computer. There's a lot of positives there, and that's the way I would prefer to work as well. Here's the problem. In doing that, you have increased your own individual productivity, but you have hurt the productivity of everybody else on your team. So while you might have gained, the 7 or 8 other people on your team have lost. And as a whole, the project has actually lost. So one of the things we do believe in is being here. This is a little bit different than other classes if you haven't been in a production studio before. So for my 281 students, this is your first time. For the other production studios, this is your first time. We meet up. We usually, this will be a little bit longer today, but usually this meeting is like 10 minutes, 15 minutes. We kind of touch base with each other. We answer questions for the entire group. On Mondays, we sometimes have somebody come in, give a guest presentation, and talk about different things. We're going to cover things that will help everybody, and then we're going to break out and get into our teams and actually work all day until 5:30. So the expectation is that you are here. You don't run back to your dorm room or your house and hole up and actually get work done. One of the things you're going to want to do this week and next week is claim out some space. I think the net security will obviously be up in the net security lab. That's fine. The classrooms are pretty much open. I haven't checked to see if they've got our lab running in any of them. Commons is completely open. A lot of teams will just grab a pod and that'll become their working space and different things like that. So kind of scope out what you've got and what's going on there. All right. So that is how the day kind of runs. Accountability, being here, getting work done, asking questions, all very, very, very important. The other thing about Production Studio is for this iteration, we are for the most part going to keep the projects separate. So the ACS group is going to go work on their own project. The net security students are going to go work on their own project. The digital media students are joining us in the game studio to work on our project, so welcome. Glad to have you aboard. And Joseph's team may end up linking up with Tony and running a project there. At the discretion of your individual instructor, I don't have a problem with a student wanting to join one of our projects, but they are their classes. So let's talk about that a little bit. Each of these, if you're in game 281, game 381, or game 481, you report to us. So Lynn is the instructor of record of game 281. So she's actually your instructor. If you're in game 381 or game 481, I'm the instructor of record. Obviously, if you're in some of the other production studios, we've got Tony, we've got Joseph, we've got Dapsbury, DBA is not in here, we've got Mason, and then there's no RBTs. That is the person that you actually report to for what you need to get done, what's being graded, what's expected of you, and different things like that. So if there is ever a conflict between what I might say up here, your instructor overrides me, and then let us know so that we can kind of clear those kind of things up, because this is the first time that we've done this as a big giant group. All right, I don't remember what else was on the paper. Lynn always gives me a paper, and then I ignore it on the stuff that I'm supposed to cover.
2 minutes to talk about how it works. Green light, game job fair, production.
All right, so what we do on the game side, and this will be a little bit different for the other groups, is we've already decided our projects. Last term, in week 14, we pitched our projects and actually picked them. Tony, I believe you guys are doing that today.
Yes, in room 107.
Yeah, so in 107, they'll be doing that today to get their projects up and running. Mason, how are you setting yours up? Is that a today thing as well?
Yeah, we're gonna start brainstorming.
Okay, so that'll be set up today as well. So slightly different there. So that gets us our projects and our projects teams. Each team will run under some production model. If you're in gaming, we run on Scrum. You're doing Scrum?
Yes.
ACS is doing Scrum. Do you know what you guys are doing yet, Mason?
Ish.
Scrum-ish?
Yeah.
We call it Scrum Butt. We do these things from Scrum, but not these things from Scrum. Yeah. If you're not familiar with Scrum, myself, Hugh, Lynn, George, did you ever do it, Adam?
I never got certified, but I know it.
Know it a lot. We're all Scrum Master certified. Again, reach out to us, both the instructors and the students. If you're like, wow, they told us this thing and I don't understand it, we're here to support you guys. So even if you're in ACS or if you're in robotics, you're in net security, and you have a Scrum question and you see me, I'd be happy to answer it for you. We've been doing that kind of stuff a long time. So those breakouts will take place. For the game studio, we are going to stay in here and go through the pitches of the teams that are live. And then after that, we have a job fair that runs. There'll be tables set up. And as a game student, you need to go and find a team and sign up and get approved to be on one of our projects. If you're on one of the other teams and you've talked to your instructor, we can work out things. For Depth 30 students, you will also stay in here with us and do that particular activity. And then that's why we pick our teams. And then in general, the way that all the studios are going to run is you're going to have 5 major milestones throughout the term. So week 3, 6, 9, 12, and 15, there'll be a deliverable that you have to deal with and make sure that you're running. Every one of those weeks, we tend to meet up in here and show off our progress. There's something powerful about showing what you accomplished over in the Scrum term, the sprint. The weeks between weeks 1 and 2 and weeks 4 and 5 and so on and so forth are mostly just production weeks. So in the Scrum world, we run 3-week sprints, which means 3 weeks to hit your major milestones that you deliver each time. And that should be pretty much aligned across all of the production shells from what I have seen on those. And that's kind of it. And then when we get towards the end of the term, like week 14 or 15, we do final presentations and things like that. A couple other things that we are arranging that I will make available to the other production teams is testing sessions. So if you get to a point where you need some testing done, your testing will probably stick mostly with games just because of the age group you're dealing with. But when UATX runs, during UATX there's going to be about a 2-hour block where the people who are attending UATX can come and test software. And so that is a good opportunity for a couple of things. One, to get some people in front of whatever project you're working on that haven't seen it before. And also because it's a UATX, there's going to be people that are interested in your degrees, right? So we're going to have a group of net security students that would love to test a network security application. We're going to have ACS that would like to test ACS. So I will get those dates and pushed out to all the shells so that we have them. I think the UATX calendar has been set for the fall, so I should be able to get those dates. I just don't know them off the top of my head. So I'm pretty sure we're going to run 2 of those over the fall. And then some of the other testing will be for gaming stuff. Also, if you are in any of the projects, game or anything, and you have some stuff that you just need to get some different eyeballs in front of, this is a room full of people who can happily test your software, right? During production studio, you know, we can pull somebody away for a half an hour or something to get, like, hey, can you guys come up and take a look at this? Or we need somebody to run through our interface because we've seen it 100 times. We don't know if it actually makes sense. And on that note, to pick on ACS and the net security students, you guys probably have very few artists on your team, I'm guessing, just in general.
Black and white.
Yeah. So again, you can come to us, you know, and say, hey, you know, can I get an opinion on this interface, or you know, we can help you guys out with that kind of stuff as well. I'm happy to. What else did I miss, Lynn?
All right, you want to talk a couple of minutes about Greenlight versus Rogue and subcontractors versus full-time?
I will right after we break the groups. So what else you got? That's specific to us. It doesn't.
All right, John Cavassi, come up. Let's
Are
get
we
started.
okay? Are we ready to start? Okay, so here's what we're going to do. John, go ahead and come up. So here's what's going to happen. So if you are a game student or a digital media production student, you are going to stay in here. If you're in one of the other things and you want to see what we do, talk to your instructor and figure out if that's appropriate or not. We have 9 projects to run through. So I was debating on making you guys stay and see what we're doing. I would encourage you, if you are not in the game production studio, this is being streamed and recorded. It's on YouTube/UAT Game Studios. Go and take a look at the type of projects we're doing to kind of give you an idea of what is expected from the production studio. This is not an area where we got, well, I got my assignment done, move forward. The expectation of production studios at the end of 15 weeks, you would have a product that you could launch or sell or in whatever capacity. So what we're going to do at this point is we're going to break out into our project teams. Game stays in here, digital media stays in here. Tony, you're taking yours to 107?
Yeah, room 107
So
for ACS and
digital
robotics.
maker and ACS in 107. Mason, I'm assuming you're going back up to the cave. So net security, you can go ahead and break out into the cave. And this will be our pattern, right? On Mondays and Wednesdays, we will meet in here briefly, and then we're probably going to do our breakouts. And normally we'll break out as well. So did I miss any other groups? All right, let's go ahead and break. Oh yeah, go ahead. Monday's at 5:30. Yep, in here. Monday often turns into, so just as a quick FYI for everybody, what Monday turns into is brief announcements. If we have any kind of speaker that's going to come in to talk about something that would apply to us all, we'll do that. And then we break out into our teams as well. What we normally use Monday for in our studios is to kind of set the expectations for the week so that you don't ignore the project for 4 days and show up on Friday and be like, what should I be working on? The other thing, just for the other studios, and again, please check with your instructors if what I'm about to say is a conflict. The expectation is you track 10 hours a week of work towards the studio production. All day Friday will get you through 6 or 7 of those if you're here all day and working. So you can knock a lot of them out. Most of my teams pick a day where they get together as a group, not with us, but just as their own, to work together and work on that kind of stuff. I would highly, highly, highly suggest that you guys do that. It really, really helps. Even if you can get most of the team together, like on a Wednesday, or I know you guys used to work on Saturday. 10 is the expectation. Some teams will go over that. I will caution you, keep a balance to that. It is not good to put 37 hours of production work in and fail all your other classes. The other instructors do not like that. Just FYI, you don't win any popularity contests, and then they get mad at me or Tony or Joseph at this point. So make sure you keep that balance. There are going to be weeks where it gets heavy, right? Like, you know what, we have a milestone due this week, and instead of doing 10 hours, I put in 14 hours or 15 hours or 40. Some of my teams have done it. Don't make that a normal thing. It'll burn you out really, really quick. So yeah, and again, please, 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 if you're in anything that's not, if you're in gaming, you can ask me these things too, but if you're in the non-gaming production studios and you have questions and you want me and your instructor to kind of get together and talk through how we've done stuff, we're here to share. We're here to share what we've been working on for the last 8, 9, 10 years versus you guys are trying this for the first time. So we might have some insight. We might tell you something and your team goes, yeah, that's not going to work for us. We're going to do something different. That's fine, but we want to have those conversations. So, all right, before you start, John, I'm going to go ahead and give those teams, and let's actually questions, if there's any questions as a whole.
I have a question. Tony has indicated that he thinks it's going to be beneficial for his team to see some of the pitches. So if the other professors feel the same way, we just ask that at what point you want to excuse your teams, you just stand up before the next presenter goes and exit through that door.
Thank you.
Yeah, you guys are welcome to stay. I don't want to kick you out, but I also want to be respectful of your time. Oh, yeah, question.
Yeah. What are the classes for games? Memory classes for games?
Elevate on mobile, I can't hear you.
What group would I go to if I'm taking like 2 different classes? I'm doing ACS and games.
You're doing the production studio and ACS and game?
I mean, it's like a thing like I'm taking classes right now, so later on I could double major.
Okay.
So
They shouldn't have let you sign up for ACS and game production studio.
But it's not going on right now. I'm not actually signed up for it right now. So it's about 6 credit thing, but it's not just classes.
Yeah.
What will probably happen during that time is, by the time you do it, we might have combined them, and then you can take whichever one you want. Or you can get the credits. Like, game production studio has 3 different classes. I have students that go all year. You could do a production studio for game one term and an ACS one the next term. And actually, just for my guys mostly, since you guys are going to stay, something that has come up, obviously we went from 7 projects last term to 9 projects this term. It is okay, and I'm going to maybe piss my leads off what I'm about to say. It is okay if there's a new project that comes in that you are interested in, but you worked on another project in the previous term. It is okay to change projects. Please be respectful and let's get together and have a conversation with the lead. If they're like counting on you to be there, we want to have that conversation. But we also want you to find something you're very passionate about. And I don't want you to be on a project and resenting it because you'd rather work on this other one that's new or has come on. So it is okay. It's, as a studio, I want to put employees in the spots that they need to be. So if you find yourself in that situation where like, yeah, I was on this team last term, but this new project looks like something I'm more interested in, please come and talk to us and we'll have that conversation. I can't guarantee you we'll move you, but I also don't want you to feel like you're stuck because they're all good projects. We just want to make sure that we man them all. So kind of keep that in mind because, yeah, what you said kind of reminded me of that. All right, any other questions? Otherwise, I want to get moving on. I have a notorious reputation of dragging stuff out, so.
I mean, it's pretty bad. I'm not complaining.
All right, you're up, John.
Okay. Just get
All right, can we give a hand to Derek Clark, our fearless leader?
Hi, my name's John Cavassi. I'm the project lead for Dawn of the DreadNoughts. And yeah, here's the trailer. Alright, so like I said, project's name is Dawn of the DreadNoughts. So, Dawn of the DreadNoughts is a game in which you, the player, have the ability to manage your troops that fight valiantly on the hull of your ship. Alright? Fly your ship in an epic battle for supremacy. You are the captain of a real-life dreadnought, basically. Okay. So goals for this semester, pretty simple. We're going to clean up our code because spaghetti code is not fun for anybody, and it only gets worse as the project goes on. Art. As you saw in the trailer, there is none, so I'm looking for artists. I've got positions for artists anywhere. You can do building art, UI art, 2D art, basically anything. So, yeah, we've got that. Oh, another thing we want to do is we want to finish our RTS functionality, which was what we started last semester, but didn't get done, and it is an RTS game, so that's kind of our main goal. We want to do player-controlled flight, which was actually a pretty fun mechanic that was experimented with last semester. I personally liked it, and yeah. The team. So far, the team is at 3 confirmed people. Me, John K., Nate, literally one of the greatest programmers I've ever seen, and Amanda Nielsen, who is also one of the greatest programmers I've ever seen, because, holy crap, she did most of the project last semester. Finally, who we need. Again, artists. We need UI artists, 3D modelers, VFX artists, programmers, gameplay programmers, but if you do another kind of programming and you still want to join the team, I would love it. Seriously, I need programmers. And designers. A few art-centric designers because, you know, art-centric designers, they know really how to make a game look pretty. And, you know, I want my game to look pretty. And then finally, another systems designer. This is an RTS game, which means there are a lot of systems working together, which can be kind of difficult to manage, especially with one designer. So, that'd be great. Finally, what can we offer you? Biggest thing and the most important thing that I believe is that this is a SIP project. You will get SIP credit for working on this project, especially considering that the whole game takes place on a spaceship, which is the actual SIP project. And finally, working on an RTS looks great on a portfolio, you know. Alright, finally, follow us on social media, twitter.com/GameOfDreads, youtube.com/ very long link because, yeah. So, that's pretty much it.
Looters, come on down.
Okay. Hello, everybody. My name is Regis Jerry. I am the lead for Looters of the Arcane. Fight when you can, run when you can't. Luda is a survival horror game which has 2 objectives: secure an arcane object and then get out alive. The core objective of the game is to travel back in time, conduct antiquities operations, and the core features for the game that is true PvE. the environment actually has a personality. For instance, the Asylum has the environment of crazy. Ancient Egypt is going with neutral. And we're going to be adapting that over to passive-aggressive. So every level you interact with on a personal basis. It's not you trying to go through a level and you only fight the enemies. We're trying to actually have you interact with the environment, learn what the environment likes and doesn't like. One of the things that we do with that is the living doors in the Asylum level. Like the doors actually eat objects. That is essentially the door handle. And so if you feed it the wrong item, the door will lock on you. If you kill the door, other doors will end up losing their trust in you. And we're trying to really adapt that going forward for each level. One of the levels that we finished starting was the hub. This is going to be the core area where we have the scene manager, tutorials, where you can end up enjoying just a simple multiplayer lobby of playing on the racetrack, learn how to shoot your gun, reload your gun in various forms. What's next for this semester is we are doing Feudal Japan. We're going to be expanding the level's personalities. We want to expand on the inventory system that we ended up doing last semester. We do need new UI because I'm not the best with Photoshop. And then what we would really like to do is move on to ancient Greece halfway through the semester. So we are going to end up needing artists. We need 2D art because all of our menus currently, it looks kind of jumbled up, and we would like to clean it up and make it look more refined. So what I'm looking for is about 1 to 2 artists. Ian is going to be my art lead this semester, and he knows how to do modeling, texturing, and he did all of the art for one of our levels last semester. So learning how to do, a really fast, really, not really hard, but really refined style for getting your artwork complete, he would be a good person to learn under. And then for programmers, I need 1 or 2. I have my multiplayer programmer. However, I am going to need somebody that is willing to take on a rough workload, because we do have a few things we want to get done. For designers, there's a lot of things that I need from designers, because we are working on at least 2 levels this semester. So that's level design, set design, getting the paper maps, puzzle systems, everything that all needs to be designed before it can actually be made. And then the one main thing that I do need is a sound designer. So if anybody wants to learn how to do sound, or anybody wants to take up the mantle to figure out how to get everything implemented, this is going to be something that I need, because currently the game only has 1 sound and it's the same song. Thank you, Ian. What you need, what I look for in a team member is I want somebody that has a drive to succeed, is willing to learn, and is ready to communicate. That's both in the classroom and online. We started off the semester last time, almost nobody was talking in our Discord, and then moving towards the end, it didn't matter if you messaged somebody at 2 in the morning, they ended up getting back to you, and I would like to continue that. What we want to do, though, is we completed all of our goals last semester. I would like to keep that ball rolling, and we want to add new enemies, implement our sound and music. Again, 2 new levels. We are going to be improving our multiplayer, so even though our multiplayer programmer isn't in production studios, we are going to be keeping that going, and we want to have fun. Thank you for consideration. Hi, Todd.
Hello, I'm Todd Dickinson, project lead for SiegeBots. So what is SiegeBots? Sorry, always forget the camera. SiegeBots is a strategic simulation game where we try to give the player all the power. So we do that by allowing them to create bots in any way they want, anything from appearance to weaponry, any utility. And then they create the AI for that bot based on the pieces that they've chosen, and they can use those bots in and a strategy environment to accomplish different goals. So our plans for this semester is improved interactivity. We want to do some environments and visual flair, add some challenges. We want to continue to improve our gameplay experience, our UI, UX, add additional bot pieces, improve our movement system. We really want to polish the output of the AI that the user creates because it's kind of wonky at the moment. So who we need, artists 2 to 3 for concept artists, UI, low poly models, textures, environments. Our art style is low poly with some gritty sci-fi textures. Just some example images of kind of the style of the world. Also need designers. We plan on possibly adding 1 additional level. We want to work on our gameplay a lot, focus down on what's fun about it, and continue improving our UI and UX. Programmers, 1 or 2 with strong object-oriented programming or data-driven programming skills. And if you're good with event-driven programming, that's a plus. And if you're not, you will be. So thanks. This is our social media. We're on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. And if you have any questions, I'll be outside after presentations.
That's why I thought you had a tall guy go before me. Hold on, don't close this. Close that. Okay. Hello everybody, I'm James Fisher, project lead for Life or Death. For those of you who don't know what the game is, it's a gladiator type fighting game where we're grabbing fighters from all different eras and time zones and having them fight in an arena for renown and getting famous and doing things like that. What we have for goals this time around for this semester is we want to make it to where players can make their own combos. So instead of just having like generic combo setups for every player, it's like, oh, I want him to do a forward slash into a thrust, or I want him to do a thrust into a backhand slash. So that you can do everything you want with that. Having players have the ability to make their own multiplayer lobbies, so that it's not just throwing players in with random players, so that we can have skill levels set to each player. And we also want it to where players can have the choice to kill or leave their opponent alive. So like at the end of a match, they can choose, like a player can either beg for their life or accept death, or the player who killed them can choose to kill them or be nice and let them live. The genres, the eras we want to go with this time around are Aztec and Samurais. For an art focus, we also want to make like new villages, new buildings, new environments for those respected cultures. So like, we want a whole new Japanese type era, a whole new Aztec type era for both weapons and buildings and environments, my bad. So what we need is 2 artists, 1 programmers, and designers. The designers we want are UI designers and level designers. And, once again, what makes the dream work? Teamwork, guys. And that's it. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Dakota Stoner. I'm the project lead for Gangs of Graffiti. So what is Gangs of Graffiti? It's multiplayer. It's going to be a lot better. We also want to actually add in the objective systems, so you'll be able to go around and take each objective, and so there's a winning condition, so you're not just stuck endlessly into the game. We also are going to be working on getting a life system in, so we can start implementing fumes. So when the player runs out of lives, they can turn to the fumes and continue playing and all of that. So yeah, and on the art side, we are going to just work on cleaning up a lot more of the art assets, getting them put in, and also gonna UI art as well, because it's not very good, just Unity assets, but yeah. So thank you.
Hello everyone. Let's see. So my name is Marcos Escobar, and today I'm presenting Rift Wars. What is Rift Wars? Rift Wars is a digital card game that focuses on a 3-deck system. The intended platform is going to be PC, and I'm looking to use the Unity engine to get the first build up and running this semester. Obviously it has a 2D art style because it is a card game, and that's going to be the primary focus for all the assets that we'll be using for the game as well. Here's a quick video. Of course. Give me a second. It's not one thing, it's another. There we go. Okay. So currently I have a current build in Tabletop Simulator. It's open to the public, so if you have the game, you can go and play the beta that I have posted on there. It includes the rules, all the current card assets for the initial faction, and everything you would need to keep track of the various numbers that the game involves. So the basic premise of the game is that you control a general card. The general card acts as your representative in the game, and your objective is to eliminate your opponent's general card using the 3 major card types of the game, which are the unit cards, the territory cards, and the equipment cards. Unit cards are your soldiers, your heroes, your bounty hunters, whatever you would have, and their objective is to eliminate your opponent's unit cards and eventually the general. Territory cards are pieces of land that will offer your soldiers as well as yourself small boons, more resources, better picks at different unit cards, and so on and so forth. And equipment cards offer small boosts to attack power. Sometimes they may be permanent upgrades that affect an entire category of your unit cards, and stuff like that. For this semester, I want to get the first faction completely finished in the engine, ready to go, with a full public beta for people to play and enjoy. As well as start and hopefully by the end of the semester finish the second faction, which still needs some work done, but it's very close to completion. So back to this. No, it wants to work. Okay, so there's everything I just mentioned. So thank you for your time.
Hello everybody, my name is Donald Chepis and I am the team lead for Gray Area. So what is Gray Area? Well, I think the best way to tell you that is to just jump right in and show you what we built last semester. This was after about 7 weeks of pre-production, getting our core gameplay loop finalized and realized, and then 8 weeks of production building out this level. So in Gray Area, you play the Gray that survives the 1947 Roswell crash. You are stranded in the middle of the New Mexico desert, and you are being hunted by the soldiers from the Roswell Army Air Force Base, by the Men in Black, and other foes that you might not even be aware of at the start. And so for this build, we built out the crash site. We spent a lot of time iterating on this level, making sure that we could make it as look as nice as possible. We spent a lot of time working on our AI to make sure that with all the rough terrain that we have in the desert, our AI pathing actually has to be quite robust, so that way they don't get lost and caught in sinkholes and things like that. And so this was kind of our focus over the course of this last semester. So what does that mean for what we want to do this semester? So for this upcoming semester, what we really want to do is we want to hone down on our core gameplay loop and make sure that that's really functioning. Right now we've got a great looking level and we've got characters that move around and our AI all sorted out. But the kind of kernel that we're missing is a lot of the gameplay that we want. Now, being a alien from outer space, the primary thing that the Gray has going for him is his ability to manipulate the minds of others. We have pretty much designed out a full influence system so that way interacting with the NPCs in the various zones as you're trying to sneak around them and complete your objective is the puzzle. Understanding these NPCs, the individual ones of how they think, how they react to certain stimuli, and then poking and prodding at them and giving them hallucinations and things like that to get them to provoke the responses that you want. You know, if you need to create a distraction that you can sneak past these two guards, well, by having understood and read the minds of these two soldiers over here, you now know how to provoke the two of them to get into a fight and thus distract everybody. And that's the core of that influence system. That's really what we want to focus on this semester. We also did a lot of work on our second zone, the ranch zone. It's the area that a lot of debris from the supposed Roswell crash landed over and was scattered across. And we've got the fundamentals for that level built out, and we just need to go over and iterate on it and add the extra levels of polish and kind of bring that up to the quality level that we want for Gray Area. We also want to overhaul our UI. Right now we've got some basic functions working in there. With the influence system, a lot of it is kind of not directly visible to the player, and so we need a robust UI system to make sure that the player understands what the Gray is doing and what impact that's having on the NPCs, as well as finishing out our objective system and linking that into our UI system, so that way you know what you're building towards in every single zone. So the advantages of working on Gray Area. First, we have professional stakeholders. We've got Doug Doyne and Daryl Walford, who's here with us today. They both have industry experience. They worked with Hugh at Cheyenne Mountain, and they're great. Doug knows a lot about Scrum and running projects and quality assurance. And Daryl is going to be doing a lot of work with our art interns this semester, mentoring them and bringing their stuff up to the next level. We've got experienced leadership. Like I said, Doug and Daryl both have been doing this. I've been on the student side of the game production studio, involved with it the longest of anybody. I've run multiple projects, and so I kind of know how to work in the studio and how to get things done. We also, it's a unique setting. You don't often see, I think, the one game that anybody can really think of that does anything like what we're doing is Destroy All Humans. But that's a comedic game, and we're completely taking that out. And we're also focusing very heavily on the conspiracy theory angle of the Roswell crash. And that's something that you don't see a lot, and it's a unique setting for people to play in. And we also have a heavy mentorship focus. Like I said, Daryl's going to be spending a lot of time this semester working with our artists and mentoring them, and that's the approach that we want with every single person on our team. So when it comes to what we need, this kind of pains me to say it, but we have a lot of art interns, so we don't actually need artists this semester. What we desperately, desperately need are programmers. Like I said, that gameplay is our big barrier right now. We need gameplay programmers. We need AI programmers to work with our gameplay programmers to make sure that the NPC and player interaction is working all right. We need UI programmers, like I said. If you are a programmer and you want to be on a project where all of the stuff that you're making is going to look pretty because we have a bunch of artists already that are really talented people, then come work on our project. The same for level designers. We've got very high standards for what we want to see in each of our zones, and a lot of the work that you're going to be doing as a level designer on a project is not just set design and placing assets, but it's also going to be taking that to the next level. It's going to be learning how to do lighting properly, how to work with the reflection probes, how to optimize your level. So there's a lot there. You're going to be learning a lot more than just set design and level design. You're going to learn all those components, and that's the type of thing that we want to foster and mentor. And that's pretty much it for Gray Area. I look forward to working with you folks this semester. Thank you.
All right, good morning, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Rocky Vargas, and I'm the project lead for Communication Meltdown. Before I get started, I just want to state that we're not actually looking for anybody at this time. I have a ninja team of 12. They're very dedicated, and so with the limited scope that we're doing, we're not actually going to have enough to go around if we take on more people. So what is Communication Meltdown? Communication Meltdown is a 4-player co-op puzzler. So that means there's one boss that's on a pie. He's getting instructions on how to keep this reactor going, and the 3 employees down below at this reactor right there, they're going to be the ones that are going to be pushing levers, buttons, dials, hunting for every single thing that they need to get this thing going. It's really similar to Keep Talking, No One Explodes in Star Trek Bridge Crew, and it's basically a game of giving and receiving instructions, like I stated earlier. We do have voice chat in this game, and that's actually going to be in conjunction with my SIP, where you can't cuss in this game at all. That's currently what I'm working on too, or else sirens are just going to go off left and right, so no cussing. It's a PG-13 game. We have very limited scope. We're going with only 2 environments. Then we're going to jump right into early access on Steam. We're planning on releasing around December, I believe. And we're working off of the Unity game engine, and we're we can do Oculus Rift and HTC Vive as of right now. I'm going to go ahead and play this video for you. Just kidding. Oh. Sorry. My first instinct is literally to click everything.
There's a link at the bottom if nothing else.
There's the YouTube link.
I got it. Cool. So this is the game as it is right now. This is just a quick highlight reel kind of thing. So this is the menu that we have right now. So you're going to be using this menu to get into a lobby. And then as soon as you get into a lobby, you're going to get stuck inside the office. So this office, you can pretty much do anything. Everything is interactable. So you can chuck tables around everything. You can play with salt shakers. We have working hands. You could chuck microwaves, napkin dispensers. We spend a lot of time in 4-player co-op just throwing things at each other. We also do, we have dartboards working. We don't have this working in multiplayer just yet, but we're going to get that going too. That's going to be one of the things we're working on. And this is the reactor. So this is pretty much the gameplay. I don't think there's sound.
Number 1 is a circle with a line and an R inside of it. A circle with a fish. It looks like an R. Does it look like the ramen symbol with an extra line? It's that one.
We got it wrong. We suck at it.
It's weird. It's weird. It's a circle with another strange thing inside of it, so I know what's right. It's a flagpole. That's not.
It's a flagpole.
Yeah, there you go. The third one's footprint, human footprint. The fourth one is the blue lever to the back. So you got it? Authenticating.
We suck at our game, so it's really exciting when we win. This is our new environment. This is a steampunk environment. We're going to get a pool table working. It's going to have generally the same core gameplay, which is why we're reusing a lot of our scripts. So it's not as game programming heavy anymore. There's the bar that we have. You're going to be able to interact with everything like here, just like everything else. And the clock is, I think, going to be the main focus of the gameplay, but that's all up to the designers. I think that's pretty much it for the... Nope, not yet. Yeah, so this is our new environment that we're working on. Like I said, it's going to be the same general core gameplay. It's really fun to see all the artists working on this. Like, that's the toilet made by Jeff Watanabe. Yeah. Cool. So our goals for fall 2018 is to complete the steampunk environment. We want to polish it up. We actually transferred over to 2018 Unity. That wasn't actually as big of a mess as we thought. We're going to work on a menu system and UI, iterate on the fun factor. We want to be able to make sure that everybody's having fun playing our game, and we're going to look at the Steam criteria for releasing early access, and we're going to be working on that the entire semester. And that is pretty much it. Follow us on social media. Have a good day.
Hello, my name is Derek.
Sure, I'm in the thing.
So I'm representing the Junior Achievement Team. My project lead is Tyler Cook.
Hello.
Probably the second longest behind Donald in the studio. So what this game is completely from scratch. Nothing's been built, nothing's been designed, nothing's even been decided upon. But the Junior Achievement is a group that goes to elementary schools, junior highs, and high schools, and they run like day-long sessions where you go out and you pretend you're a business person and you earn money and you have to do your own budget and kind of learn to live life. They want to build an electronic version of that. And what we're going to concentrate on is what's called financial literacy. The idea behind, as you become an adult and have to learn to do adulting, you have to deal with money in a way that you never did as a kid. So our target audience is going to be junior high and high school, and probably tested internally here because some of you guys don't deal with money well either. And try to figure out a way to gamify this experience in an electronic form so they don't have to put on these all-day workshops all the time. Right? It's something you could play over a longer period of time. So for this project, we're going to need obviously 2 or 3 programmers, 2 or 3 artists, and probably more designers than any other team is going to allow on their team because we have 0 design work left. This is an external project, so Junior Achievement came to us and would like us to build this. We are going to build a prototype this fall, and then probably over the spring, they are going to approach investors. And if they get investors in this project, they're bringing it back to UAT Game Studios, and we are going to be their publisher. It's going to be our first self-published game if all that goes really, really well. So by the end of next year, this could actually be a live game that's running in schools in the Valley and beyond. So it is not a lot to show. I just pulled up their website. But if you want to get involved from the ground floor, we'll be working on this. This is obviously an educational, serious style game versus your pure entertainment-based game. I will be heavily involved with it. Hugh will also probably be heavily involved with it as well, since his PhD work is in exactly this kind of stuff. And what we want to prove with this is you can have fun and learn something. So many educational games are either fun or you learn something, and not necessarily both. So that's what we're shooting for this one. So we'll be putting the team together. You'll be interacting with the external clients. They'll be on campus today at 2:30 for the team that actually joins us, and we'll start the development process today. We're going to start planning and figuring out what we're going to do, and then move forward with it. So that's what Junior Achievement is, and we hope to see you there. Yep. Okay, before we start the rogue developers, I'm switching hats here. So before we start the rogue development stuff, a couple quick things. These are the projects that are within the studio. So if you are signed up for a studio class, Game 281, Game 381, and Game 481, these are the projects that you need to sign up for. I'll go ahead and take this opportunity to make a couple of the quick announcements, then we'll roll over to the rogue development, which we also want to support. We call it rogue development. These are projects that we want to give help to as well, but aren't necessarily part of the studio officially. So they're opportunities, especially if you're not in the studio, if you just want to kind of team up and work with some people that have some great ideas. Couple quick things on the studio side though. Today is mostly going to be a planning day, so you need to go out, find one of these teams, figure out what just appealed to you and you want to do. Just as some FYI moments here. FYI moment number 1. Roughly, if I look at the population that we have for Development Studio right now, we have about 25% artists, about 25%, maybe a little higher, programmers, and almost 50% designers. We're very design heavy this term. One of the things that we stress in studio is it is completely okay to work outside of your comfort zone and be a contributor to a team. So, who wanted audio? Was it you, James? In your presentation, didn't you say who? Jerry.
Jerry.
Yeah. So like Jerry, when he popped up there, like, I need somebody to work on audio. If you have an interest in audio and you're a designer, you can do audio, right? You don't necessarily have to do that. Also, if you are a designer and you've been in any of our classes, whether it's mine or Markwitz's or Adam's or any of us, we always stress as a designer, you should probably be able to design and art or design and program, right? So if you've got some art skills and you want to join a team and do some design and some art because they needed artists, that is okay as well. So kind of keep that in mind as you're looking for that. The other thing I would definitely mention is also, look at your portfolio objectives and what you want to try to accomplish as you join a team. Join a team that's going to help you put stuff in your portfolio that you want to do. So be flexible, right? The good of the team is sometimes better than the good of any individual on it. It's that teamwork where you get a really, really great project. Another quick announcement. When you meet up with your teams and signs up today, we should have everything assigned by this afternoon, and we'll start meeting with the teams and get you guys onboarded onto the teams. One of the requirements that you're going to run across is setting up communication channels. Each of the team is going to have its own way it communicates. It might be Slack, it might be Discord, it might be Facebook. You need to sign up for those. If you want any of your work graded for Game Studio, you need to sign up for our studio-wide Discord channel. Until you sign up for that, zeros are going into every single thing you turn in. So if you want to pass, make sure you get that out really, really early. If you've already been in Studio, you're in there already. Mostly for the 281 students, we've got a permanent link. We'll share that link with you. You need to sign up. You need to change your nickname on our studio to your name. You can assign a nickname per server. You don't have to use your global one. Mine's Deconstruction Gaming, but in Studio, it's just Derek. It just shows you who I am. And then you need to send me what team you're on and what role you're fulfilling on that team. Very vaguely in the role. Designer, artist, programmer is about all it is. Because I've got roles set up for that so we can link you guys up. And there's chats up there for studio-wide conversations. The reason we do this is it's exactly the same thing I was saying earlier. The idea behind this is if you're a designer on life or death and you have a question that internally the team is just struggling with, this is where you can ask every designer in the studio, hey guys, what would you do this? Or programmer or artist. So kind of keep that in mind. If you have any questions on that, there'll be information up in the Canvas shell, or you can meet up with one of us and we can show you how to get that set up. I think that covers the things I wanted to hit right now before we roll into Rogue Developers. So.
Hey Derek, are leads meeting at all today?
Yeah, we'll meet at 1:30. Leads will meet at 1:30.
Could I talk about the sign-up process for
the
new folks real quick? So when you're going to sign up for a project, go to one project. We're all going to be at the tables outside. Go up to whichever lead is on the project, whoever's there manning the table. Talk to them. Talk to them about what your skills are, what you've worked on previously, and then throughout that conversation, you'll kind of get a yeah, okay, go ahead and sign up. Make sure you sign up for one project. That's going to make our lives easier when we're trying to balance out the teams. Also be open. Something that we're trying to do as leads is make sure that we evenly distribute our resources as much as we can so that everybody has artists, everybody has programmers. So when you're talking to the person that you're signing up with, they'll probably bring up, and we'll try and be good about this, mentioning that, okay, yeah, we've got a lot of programmers signing up. If that's the case, talk to them a little bit about what other projects you were interested in. That way, when it comes time for us to do the leads meeting, we can say, oh, I was talking to this person. I don't have use for them on my team because I've got too many programmers, but they were also interested in other projects. That way we can try and place you in the places that you're interested in and also where you're needed. Also, if you're, when you're signing up, make sure to find out where that team meets. So like if you're signing up for Gray Area, I'll tell you we meet in the corner of the Commons by the library. Make sure to find out where you meet and at what time you're going to be meeting with the team. And then also, when you're going to that meeting with the team, be prepared to show if you have a portfolio, if you have any work samples, anything like that. Especially for artists, that helps us kind of gauge your skill level. For programmers as well, some of us have programming tests that we pass out, things like that. Just be ready to kind of show off what you've done and what you're willing and ready to do.
All right, just to add to that very quickly, thank you. If you are enrolled in 281, 381, 481, you are required to work on a Greenlight project. And even though we support our Rogue developers, it simply means that they are not chosen as a Greenlight team this semester, but they are just as much a viable product of who we are. So if you are a subcontractor coming in to fulfill your requirements for a class, you are able to sign up for a Rogue development team there.
Yeah, and I'll tack on to what Donald said. He said it in the nice way, I'll say it in the mean way. We will do our best to match you up with the project you want to be on. I think that is important. That being said, it is my responsibility to make sure the studio as a whole runs. I can't have 8 programmers on one team and 10 artists on another team and nobody gets anything done that we need to do. So that's why it is what Donald said is important, right? You know, if you're talking to your favorite, indicate like other things that you might be interested in, because you might get moved to a team that needs the help. We'll do everything we can to help you, but the realities of development is in my studio I need to get 9 projects done, and you are my resource to get 9 projects done. So there's no guarantee, but we will do everything we can. We usually hit at about a 95 to 97% rate of getting people on the projects they want. We rarely have to pull somebody off and just move them around, but it does happen. So we'll do everything we can to get you guys on the right projects and the projects you want to be on, but be flexible. They're all good projects. They're all portfolio-worthy projects, and you might just learn something that you didn't think you wanted to learn. You trying to get your group out of here?
Yes, ACS break 107. Thank you.
Thanks, Tony.
All right. Thank
And
you for
robotics,
joining
too.
us. All right, you want to adjust your camera there?
Now we can talk bad about the studios.
No.
All right, now I'll tell you guys the real part.
The true secrets to Game Studio.
I'm trying to behave myself. I'm usually far more sarcastic than this. We'll see how long that lasts. Well, I know what project I'm canceling first. The one where the leads wander off.
All right, hello everyone. I'm Matthew Abney. I'm a graduate student here at UAT. I'm studying game production and management. As part of that, I have to do a GSIP, which is basically the same thing you guys have to do, the Student Innovation Project. Mine is the graduate level. My GSIP is Ephemeral Management, which basically takes the idea of Scrum but Waterfall, Kanban, all of those things and turns them into one thing. The way it does that is ephemeral means short-lived. Basically, it means it's going to change every time a new project comes about, just like every other form of team management. Going through the undergrad studies, going through the graduate studies, all of that stuff, learning about Kanban, Scrum, all of those, I frankly got fed up having to learn all the new terminology, all of the new aspects to these things. Because the reality of it is, they're all the same thing, and they all just take different parts from each other and call it something new. So what I wanted to do is I wanted to make this project. Essentially, it started off as just a paper map saying, hey, I want to make this a new thing that we all use everywhere and everything like that, and make it a flexible management tool. Well, kind of while I was going through this process, I decided, you know what, this would actually make a fun kind of gamified system, because in order to actually manage a team, what do you have to do? You have to balance things. You have to balance your time. You have to balance your scope. You have to balance all of the realities of everything. You have to take all of the aspects of everything that everybody wants and piece it together into something and actually make the item that they wanted in the first place, but you're going to get it wrong every time. So how do you get around by doing that? You do it through various iterations. You do it through various aspects and stuff like that. How are we going to gamify this? Gamify it by doing a thing like similar to Hearthstone, Magic Duels, Elder Scrolls Legends, etc. Those various card games. The way that it'll work is you'll take these card games and you'll basically pitch together and make your team balance the way you need it by balancing, first off, your morale and structure. You have to actually get those together in order to get your team motivated, to get them going, to make them do what they want to do. And then after that, you have to take into consideration, how are you going to fit this into your scope, your schedule, and your budget? What are your risks? What are your resources? What is the quality of the project that you're going to need? Once you take all of those aspects, combine them into a thing, you're going to have your personal deck. You're going to have what you're going to use to battle your boss. The boss is going to be the project itself. The project is going to come, or the boss is going to come in multiple stages. You're going to have it in sprints. So each sprint, it's going to change. The boss is going to adapt. It's going to change and have different challenges that you have to overcome. Are you going to be able to do that with your deck? Yes or no? If not, you need to stand back, have a sprint meeting, and actually readjust everything so that you can be prepared for the next level of the boss. What is basically needed for this project? Everything. This thing has not even been started in the gamified process yet. I need anybody that's willing to help out right now, as far as designers, programmers, artists, whatever I can get from this. Like they said, I'm a road project. It's not required. If you just want to help, cool. If you don't, that's fine too. I can handle this. But I would like the help. I'm not an artist. I'm a programmer by trade. So anything you're going to see from this project, if I do it by myself, is going to be strictly just boxes. So that's pretty much all I got. I wanted to keep it short and brief because, you know, we all want to get out there and start developing. So there you go. Thank you, everybody.
Okay, is Kevin in the house? Project Odyssey. Oh, they missed their opportunity. Okay. All right, one last thing for Rogue Development. We are now developing another facet to our UAT Game Studios, and that is specific workshops designed to train you in the pipelines for AAA developers. So we want to know who you are, even though this is a waiting list at this point. We want to know who you are. If you are due for an internship, if you would like to be trained specifically on proprietary tools to have those paid internships, sign up with me afterward. Derek, you're on.
Oh, to wrap up. All right. So you saw a lot of things, a lot of different projects, a lot of things going on. We are now going to essentially break out. It is noon now, probably for about the next 45 minutes till about 12:30. There'll be tables set up outside with each of the teams sitting there, so if you want to go up and ask questions, get more information, find out if it's a good fit. Both directions, they want to make sure that you're a good fit for the team, and you want to make sure the team is a good fit for you. We're going to try to get that kind of done by 12:30, 1 o'clock-ish. Most of the teams will then meet with you and start kind of the onboarding process for the most part. At 1:30, the leads will meet and we will finalize the teams in the game production shell. So if you're in game production, you're all in one giant Canvas shell, which might be a little bit different for the 281 students. There's 6 classes that access that shell. So you will be put on in a team group, and then they will have their own information in there as well. So make sure that you get that done. That's what we'll do at 1:30. Also, make sure that you realize if you're new to Production Studio, you will also be working with online students. For gaming, we combine our online game production classes right alongside our on-ground game production classes. So they will be here, most of them will be here for the entire 15 weeks. They'll just do all 3 classes in 15 weeks versus us doing one term at a time. I challenge any of you to outproduce our online students. Hello, online students that are not looking at me. Our online students tend to put in a lot of content because they actually are required to do more hours. So if you can outproduce our online students, you're actually doing quite well. But they will also be taken into consideration, so hi online students, for what team they are on, and we'll do that sorting hat activity at 1:30. At that point then, the leads will get back with you guys, and we will meet up as teams, kind of get the rest of the onboarding done, the communication channels, setting expectations. You are required in week 1 to show time and work done. So I know it might seem a little weird that we are just now getting started. And you can count this, right? You can put on your timesheet, you know, sat through the production stuff. This is part of the studio experience, so it's okay for this week. But yeah, you're going to get with your leads. You're going to figure out what needs to be worked on. And between now and Sunday, you're going to get some stuff done and get some stuff moving and things like that. Then normally, you know, our production starts on Monday and goes through Sunday. And every Sunday, your stuff is going to be due. And the leads can help you with that. Also, very mentor-driven. So if you have any questions, you can ask any of us. You can ask your leads. You can ask the other people that have been in studio for us before. So just as a reminder, if you are in 381 or 41, please stand up so the newbies can see who you are. Don't be shy. So these people have been through studio before. Again, I think it's very, very valuable to learn from perspective. So if you are like having a question, my answer might answer it, but their answer might answer it better because they were part of the production as opposed to leading the production. So kind of take note of who's standing up. We're all here to help you. Okay, you can go sit down. If you are in the digital media group, we will get you access to our Canvas shell so you can see the game project teams, but you will turn your homework into Datsuri's shell. So she will be the one grading you. If that gets confusing, get with us. We'll walk you through it, but we will give you access to that kind of stuff. Like I mentioned before, another big part of today is to make sure you get your communication structures and stuff in. You need to get signed up for whatever your team is using. You need to get signed up for UAT Game Studios. It is actually a great resource. I think last term John did about the best of taking advantage of it in that he would ping me with a DM in Discord, like, hey, one of my online students has this question, and it was like 3 o'clock on a Saturday afternoon or 4 o'clock in the morning on a Friday, and we got that dealt with almost instantly and then move forward. They are great tools that, you don't have to wait around till Monday to see your instructor or something like that. If I have a browser open, I usually have the UAT Game Studio Discord open, so you can DM me and things like that. I think that covers most things for me. Hugh, Lynn?
281 students, don't leave. Today is production day. We're here all day.
Till 5:30.
At 1:30, we are going to have the leads meeting. You can break for lunch at that time. Just follow your leads and make sure that you are getting the necessary onboarding tasks finished today. And don't forget to fill out your sprint log / time card. Very important that you do that because your leads also have to confirm those hours.
Also make sure at the end of the day at 5:30 you come back in here and sign out so that we know you were here at least at 5:30. Today is a little bit special in that in the founders lobby there's the faculty student mixer that takes place that starts at 5:30. So as we wrap up here from 5:30 to 6:30, that's going on over in founders dorm. I love that we have gotten to a critical mass to the point that they moved it from 5 to 5:30 because studio ends at 5:30 and they got tired of me getting mad at them. We could give them balloons. Maybe they caught on. Yeah. We used to put balloons out and then we would take them over and let them use our balloons. But anything else, Lynn?
That's it.
Hugh?
Nothing that hasn't already been covered. So just the idea that, remember, this is what you're here for, right? Like, unless you're the rare exception who doesn't want a job when you graduate, this is what you're looking to do, right? So take advantage of it, right? Use it well. Use this as a way to show off. Especially in the game industry, they don't really, what they care about is that you can do the job they're hiring you for. That's it. That's the only thing that's important. The way you're going to show that is not with, homework from game 125 or homework from game, one of the intro level classes. You're going to show it by these projects. This is how you're going to prove to future employers that you know how to do the job. This is how you're going to get the job that you want. So put that effort in. Really focus on these projects. Again, don't go as far, like Derek was saying, don't fail your other classes, because that's important too. But I always like to say that, your other classes prepare you for the studio. The studio prepares you for the job. So take this class seriously. Put that work in. It's worth it.
So, Lise, can I have you come up for just a second,
Just a
please?
second. Yeah,
Okay.
I'm going to tag on to what Hugh said. It should be simultaneous the hardest and most fun thing to do here. Last thing, we harp on being here. You guys know that. Making sure you're here, and we have zero tolerance about anybody missing studio time. Next week, Hugh, Lynn, George, and I are not going to be here for studio. We're going to Austin for a game leadership conference. So it will still run. We'll have other people doing stuff. Just because we're not here doesn't mean we cancel studio. But I think it's hilarious how big the deal I've made about not missing. And then the second week, we're all going to be out of state. So I apologize for that. But yeah, make sure you're aware of that. Are you recording this part, or you want to stop recording?
No, it is important that this is recorded. Lise, I want you to talk very briefly about the importance of why we're here, and that is to build reputations as well as portfolios. How critical is it that they build their reputation as well as their portfolio? Speak to that.
Yeah.
So John,
2 minutes. Go for it.
Wait, what was the?
I'll jump forward first because what Hugh's saying about this class prepares you for the job. My first paid gig was because of the work I did in production studio. A lot of other people's first paid gig at the school, who then worked on that project that was my first paid gig, was because I worked with them in studio. Charles Kozar, who was our lead programmer last semester, Doug liked the stuff that he was seeing from Charles, and now he's over there working with Doug at Eline Media. It's not hypothetical. This studio is what's going to get you a job, and the connections that you make. So not just showing that you can do the job, but also showing that, if any of us stick our neck out and recommend you for something, or even just beyond getting a recommendation, when people are asking, hey, have you ever worked with this person? And if their response is, yeah, they did good work, but they were kind of not fun to work with, and they were kind of a douche all the time. If that's the response, if that's the way that you conduct yourself in this setting, that's going to be how you conduct yourself in a professional setting. And if you do a poor job here, no one's going to want to work with you, and that's going to be a big barrier to any job in the industry. It's incredibly small.
Well, and you guys have all heard it from your professors 100 times, and you'll hear it 100 more before you all graduate. Your portfolio is key. It's what's going to get you a job in the industry more than anything else, that and networking. And Donald's already touched a lot on the networking. But your portfolio is key. And so here, you guys get that really all-important portfolio piece. No matter what project you work on, it's a valuable portfolio piece. Every single project up here is going to be valuable. And so keep that in mind when you guys are choosing the project you want to work on. What is going to fit into your portfolio the best, and what's going to stand out when you go get a job? So think about that, because your portfolio is extremely important. And you need to make sure that what you're working on displays you and displays your talents and your strengths. And you want to make sure that you're growing your strengths, and that you're learning, and that you're making sure that everything you do here helps you, and that you're educating yourself and making yourself better. And so whatever you do, make sure that you keep that in mind, and that this is a learning experience and you're here to learn. And so find the project that intrigues you and that you know you're going to gain something from. So that's my 2 cents.
Something I actually wanted to add to that is that it is a project, meaning it's done by a team. A team is only as strong as its weakest link. Now that's not saying, try not to be the weakest link. If the weakest link is this amazing programmer or artist, that's a pretty good team. When everybody on your team is working super hard, everybody's showing up, and you're that one guy, you're essentially bringing the whole team down. Don't be that guy. Show up, do your work, and it's not just going to benefit you, it's going to benefit the other team, because that's more work being done on this project. So when you put it up on your portfolio, it would have been just 10 times better.
Also, some of us are going to be trying to release these games. If nobody wants to hop on our teams, or nobody wants to help us complete the game, then that's actually hurting all of us, because if we get a game released, even if it's not a very good game, that's still a release title. And that's something that you can put on your portfolio as, I have released a game. I did this, this, and this on this project. So you helping us is also helping you.
Yeah, just about every job that you see is going to ask for ship titles. And so helping out and getting ship titles not only benefits the people on your team, but it benefits you because it helps you get a job.
So real quick, how many of the leads project is also linked to an LLC externally?
Oh, actually.
So keep that in mind, right? They're actually starting companies, and these are going to be ship titles under a company name. That's great for your resume. Go ahead, Rick.
So I was going to say reputation, like I know these guys are talking about like outside of studios and everything, but within studios, your reputation is key. Like right now, I can vouch for anybody on my team because we had so many times where we put in like over 50 hours a week just working on our game, and it was fantastic. Like none of them complained, everyone loved it because we love working with each other. But the point is, if your reputation is bad, no one on studios is going to like you. You're literally going to try to go in studios next semester, or you're going to try to get on the project, and they're going to hear from somebody else within the school that, hey, that guy doesn't show up, that guy doesn't do this, that guy doesn't do that. You don't want to be that guy. You want to be the guy like, hey, this guy's a great programmer, this guy does great design, this guy does great art. Hire him, take him on your team, he'll help you, he'll do this, she'll do this, he'll everything like that.
Very highly correct. I was about to say, we even let girls.
Yeah, definitely. Girls are great.
We've really moved into the future there.
Yeah.
And keep in mind, the same is true for the industry. You all are going in the same direction. So if that reputation precedes you, you're going to have a difficult time breaking in. On the other hand, if you do really well building your reputation, you're going to have all these people that want to have that $1,500 bill for referring you. But remember, they're putting their reputation and name on the line when they do refer you. If you can live up to that, then you will break in a lot quicker.
And one last thing, remember we're a community here. I know we're a bunch of different projects, and James will try and pretend that he's the best project and create that competition and try and pit us against each other. But we are one community. Do not be afraid to step up and offer help to the other projects, because like Jerry said, one project getting released that has built at UAT Games Studio even if you didn't work on that project, the fact that the studio is doing things that are positive and that people are seeing means that when somebody sees on your resume, oh, you went to UAT and you were in the UAT game studio. Well, I saw this other game that was released and a bunch of people liked it and it looked really good. So, ergo, you must be the same caliber of that released project, or better, or whatever. And so remember that it's a community because we are all going to the same place. We are all going to be working at the same types of studios in the same areas, and all of us have a vested interest in both the game studio and UAT having as positive a reputation as we can, because that increases the value in that diploma that you're going to get from here when you graduate.
Okay, are we ready? Let's go make games. All right, good job, guys.